The vet's voice was barely a whisper. "If we don't get him warm in the next 5 minutes, he will die." His fur, matted with ice and mud, held the cold of a night that refused to end. His breaths were shallow, almost invisible clouds in the frigid air. A life hanging by a thread, just moments from snapping. Would you have stopped? Or would you have kept driving, another shadow on a forgotten road? This story begins in the heart of a merciless winter, where the wind bites with the fury of a predator. For 3 days, a young Wolf, barely more than a pup, had been trapped. His leg was caught in a cruel, rusted snare, a forgotten relic of a crueler time. The pain was a constant fire, but the cold was a slow, creeping death. He had cried out at first, his howls echoing through the empty, snow-covered forest. But no one answered. The forest was silent, indifferent. His pack was gone, he was utterly alone. Hunger gnawed at his belly, a hollow ache that was even worse than the pain in his leg. He licked the snow for moisture, the ice crystals numbing his tongue. He watched the sun rise and set, a distant, uncaring eye in the sky. Fear was his only companion. Every snap of a twig, every whisper of the wind, sent a jolt of terror through his weakened body. He was a predator who had become prey, not to another animal, but to the world itself. He was losing the will to fight. His eyes, once bright with wild spirit, were now clouded with a deep, primal despair. He was just a ghost in the snow, waiting for the end. He closed his eyes, surrendering to the inevitable darkness. He didn't want to see another sunrise. The world had forgotten him. On the 3rd day, a man named Ben was driving down a remote logging road he rarely used. He was a wildlife photographer, chasing the perfect winter light. The world outside his warm truck was a postcard of white and gray, but something caught his eye. A dark shape, almost completely buried in a snowdrift, just off the road. It didn't look right. It looked like a pile of old rags, but there was something unsettling about it. He slowed his truck, peering through the falling snow. Was it just a shadow? A fallen branch? His mind told him to keep going. It was nothing. The road was treacherous and a storm was rolling in. But his gut, a voice he had learned to trust, screamed at him to stop. Something was wrong. Deeply wrong. He pulled over, his heart starting to pound. He hesitated, his hand on the door handle. The forest felt dangerous, unwelcoming. For a moment, he almost put the truck back in drive, but then he saw it. A faint, almost imperceptible tremor in the dark shape. It was alive. Ben grabbed a thick blanket and a first aid kit from his truck. The snow was deep, reaching his knees with every step. As he got closer, the shape resolved itself. It was a Wolf. A beautiful, gray Wolf, its body curled into a tight ball against the impossible cold. He saw the snare, the raw, frozen wound around its leg. The Wolf's eyes flickered open. They were filled not with aggression, but with pure, unadulterated terror. A low growl rumbled in its chest. A last, desperate warning from a creature with nothing left to give. Ben stopped. He knew any sudden move would be seen as a threat. He knelt in the snow, about 20 feet away, making himself small. "Hey there," he said, his voice soft, calm. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm here to help." The Wolf just watched him, its body trembling uncontrollably from cold and fear. Ben moved with a slowness that felt like prayer. Inch by agonizing inch, he crawled closer. He didn't look directly into the Wolf's eyes, a sign of challenge in their world. He just kept talking, his voice a low, steady murmur. "It's okay. You're safe now. We're going to get you out of this." He could see the frost on its whiskers, the ice clinging to its eyelids. He was so close now he could hear the shallow rattle of its breathing. He reached out his hand slowly, showing it was empty. The Wolf flinched, but it didn't snap. It was too weak. Gently, Ben wrapped the blanket around the shivering body. The warmth must have been a shock. The Wolf went still, its muscles rigid. Then, as if a dam had broken, it let out a soft, heartbreaking whimper. It was the sound of surrender. The sound of a wild spirit finally accepting help. Carefully, using cutters from his kit, Ben worked on the frozen metal of the snare. It took several minutes, his own fingers numb with cold. When the wire finally snapped, the Wolf didn't even move. It was as if all the fight had gone out, replaced by a fragile, tentative trust. Back at his small cabin, Ben laid the Wolf on a soft bed of blankets near the fireplace. The vet, a friend from the nearby town, arrived within the hour. The diagnosis was grim: severe hypothermia, dehydration, starvation, and a badly infected leg. The next few hours were critical. They worked quietly, cleaning the wound, administering antibiotics and warm fluids through and for. The Wolf was unconscious through most of it, a wild creature now completely dependent on human hands. Ben didn't leave its side. He watched the slow, steady rise and fall of its chest. He saw the twitch of an ear as a log settled in the fire. He saw life, faint but persistent, refusing to be extinguished. For 2 days the Wolf slept. On the third morning, Ben awoke to find two golden eyes watching him. There was no fear in them anymore, just a quiet curiosity. Later that day, it took its first sip of water from a bowl Ben held out. A few hours after that, it ate a small piece of cooked meat from Ben's hand, its touch gentle, almost polite. The transformation was breathtaking. The haunted look was replaced by a soft alertness, its breathing deepened. The simple act of a wild animal, a symbol of untamed nature, accepting food from a human hand felt like a miracle. It was a bridge being built across an ancient divide, one piece of trust at a time. In the end, it's not just about saving an animal. It's about saving a piece of ourselves. In a world that can feel cold and indifferent, a single act of kindness can send ripples of warmth through the darkness. It reminds us that our greatest purpose is not to conquer the wild, but to be its guardian. The Wolf, now healed and running free in a protected sanctuary, carries no snare on its leg. But we carry the memory of its eyes. We carry the lesson that when you stop for the one who is lost, you might just find the best part of your own humanity. Thank you for watching. If you were moved by this story, consider sharing it. You never know who might need to see it.